Hey, welcome to this new video, and today we are going to use CSS to style this activities list which we created in the previous video. Like I said in the previous video that I was going to use style components. Now I was researching a bit. I decided to use emotion instead. So we are going to install emotion using this command here. I'm going to exit the npm start command and I'm going to install emotion/core. Cool, I can run npm start again to start up the application. So meanwhile I can start using the code here. I'm going to say import CSS and JSX from emotion core. So now we have to stop here and think about what we are doing. So we are importing CSS and JSX from this library. Basically JSX is going to replace the JSX this is provided by React. So right now if I comment out this line and I remove this line here, you can see that there is an error, and like VS Code tells us that React must be in scope when using JSX. Importing the JSX from emotion core is going to fix all this, but we need this special comment here. We are proxying the JSX normal compilation phase through this JSX function provided by emotion, which will then add the CSS we are going to add now. We are basically enriching the default JSX of React. So now here in the activities, for example, I can say CSS. The CSS prop is equal to this object, which starts with a JSX tagged template, and inside here we can add all the CSS we want. So for example, I can like add a background color yellow, and I save, and this is already working in the output, as you can see. So we can remove the import React up above. So this is everything we need to start working with CSS. I can add the same CSS prop into other parts of the JSX. I can, for example, say this one is background color blue, and this changes the color to blue because so the yellow is not visible anymore because this is hidden by this element. If I want to remove that, there was nothing in the page, so maybe I can say like 800 pixels, and this will make the yellow bigger so you can see that. Okay, so let's actually style this whole page nicely. I'm going to remove the backgrounds. What I want to do is I want to use CSS grid to create the container for the application. So the nice thing about emotion is that every CSS we are adding is scoped to this page. So like in the end we are going to remove all this CSS here in the app.css file, and we will move it into our React components. So the first thing we are going to do is we say display grid here. We are going to separate the page into two parts. So we're going to use grid template columns, and one column is like 300 pixel and the other one is automatically determined. We will worry about like responsive layouts very soon, but for the meantime this column here, let me okay, as you can see here, this column takes 300 pixels. This UL has a border right 1 pixel solid black. So the sidebar here is not going to use the whole space available in 8. And to do that, we need to do basically two things. One is we need to set the width and the height. This is already good enough. If I close the DevTools, we can see that this is taking the whole view. But we also have some padding up here. As you can see, this is because the padding here, which is added by the user agent style sheet, as you can see here. So we need to clear out that. And we do so by going, well, let me go in the app.js file, app.css file, which I think that the only thing that will remain in this file is this very important CSS declaration, which says padding 0 for all elements, margin is 0 for all elements, and also we are going to use box sizing. Box sizing is border box. Okay, so now that we have reset all the margin and paddings, we can go here, and one thing you will notice is that those items are centered because we have text align center on the user agent style sheet again. So we need to go here and we say text align left, right? And we also add some padding left. Padding left is 20 pixel and padding top is 20 pixel. Alright, we are also going to remove the button near every element, every list item. We can do so using list style item none. No, it's not this one. Which one is list style type? List style. Oh, right. List style type. Okay. Now after every li element, we need to say CSS equals CSS, and then we add the style here, and I say in every li item we have a padding of 20 pixel and the border bottom is 1 pixel solid black. Okay, this is starting to look good. The only thing is that I need to remove the padding from the UL. Alright, otherwise, also the padding top, because we are adding it to the list item. Cool. One thing I want to do, however, is I want to it's okay. So now when I hover each element in the list, I want to change the color slightly of the background, and then I will make the mouse cursor to a pointer. So, and to do that, I will I refer to the emotion documentation, which tells me that I just need to add this line here, which is SCSS or SAS, if you have ever used that. So I can say here and hover the background color is gray, light gray. Let me see. Okay, so now the color is boring at all, but I will improve this later. and I need to also make the cursor I always forget about this CSS property. Cursor pointer. Okay, right. Cursor is pointer. Let me see. Okay, it's already working. As you can see, the mouse cursor is changing. We have a little hand, like on links. So now the next thing I will do in JavaScript will be to show the detail on the right whenever I click this one of these activities here. Later on I will add a plus button here at the bottom to enter a new activity. And but first I want to like provide some kind of responsive thing here. I don't want to leave the responsiveness of the application at the last thought. So what I want to do is when I reach some point, for example, like this is already this, we can work with this and show the detail here, but after 1000 pixels, like we need to reconsider how we show the activities list. And maybe what we are going to do is we are going to show a very narrow like sidebar, and we will have two buttons. One is to add a new activity, and one is to show the list of activities, like it will slide over the canvas here, over the details. So by default we only see the details, and let me try, right? So I refer again to the emotion documentation and I check responsive. Let me see here. Okay, here we have like some documentation on how to do that, and it's just like in regular CSS. I should have thought about that. And yeah, so we can do like this. So media after like 1000 pixels, max width. So when the width is less than 1000 pixels, so let me simulate like a responsive layout using the toggle device toolbar option offered by the DevTools. So when I go over like 1000 pixels, as you can see, we have like an increase in the font because I set this font size 50 over 1000 pixels just to try out. So I need to do like the opposite when the view goes below what I can do, like 800 pixels, for example. So max width 800 pixels. We are going to just use one column. We are just going to use one column. And to do that, we need to assign names to our grid. Otherwise, we can like choose to hide one column in this way. And so to do that, we are going to use grid template areas in addition to grid template columns. So we are going to use one column, which will be well, actually, we are going to use two columns again, but one is an narrower column, which maybe will be 50 pixel or like 80 pixel, and the rest is auto. And the grid template areas, it will be like the sidebar, mobile, and and main. Alright, while up here I need to enter like sidebar, desktop for example, and main. So I need to assign to this UL element the name of sidebar desktop, and to do this we need to say here in the CSS, we say grid area is sidebar desktop area. Okay, we say here grid area is main, and then I also create no, sorry, I did this thing wrong. CSS equals CSS grid area main. All right, and I'm going to add a new UL element here, which is like, so let me copy the UL element from here, which instead of like showing the activities, this is just going to print something right now. Sidebar mobile. So I don't add a class name because I will not use it anymore. Okay, so this thing here says that strings are not allowed as CSS prop values. Please wrap it in a CSS template literal. UL CSS. I did something wrong. Where? Line 37. Maybe this is an error that I inherit from up above. No. This is actually an error in here. UL CSS equals CSS. What's the problem here? Strings are not allowed as CSS prop values. Ah, sorry, the error is here. Okay. So this, I had this error here, but I think it was telling me the wrong line. Yeah, it was telling me the wrong line. This is why we need a lot of time to debug things. Okay, this is still appearing for some reason. Okay, so let me see. Grid template areas. Okay, so yeah, it's still appearing, but it shouldn't. And to fix this, we need to hide it when this breakpoint appears. So we need to say like here, display none, because it's not in the grid, but CSS is still displaying it. Okay, so this is, if this time I need to say that, okay, this something element should not appear if the max width, min. I always get confused with max width and min width. I think that they should have a better name. I don't know. Okay, we are we are done finally. So instead of being something here, we are going to find like an icon that once we click, it will make this list appear. Let me find a proper icon for this. It should be like an hamburger icon. Hamburger icon CSS maybe. This one is nice. Icon finder. This is very nice, and I think that is paid. So let's find a like hamburger icon CSS like on CodePen. Let me see. This is nice, and it also automatically shows the menu, which is very cool. Let me see this CodePen here. There's too many things. Okay, so every item in the menu toggle is a span. Let me copy edit as HTML, this thing. Alright, I don't need the menu actually, so we are just going to use this menu toggle, and probably, yeah, you know what, yeah, I just need to copy this CSS here. So inside each span I can use this same CSS style I used. Let me see. This is working. Yeah, we got one icon, so this checkbox, I don't know why we should use that. Let me copy this 3 times. Alright, we got this nice menu. I think that I can avoid... No, I can't avoid having an ID here, because we are probably going to use JavaScript to intercept the click. What I'm going to do here, however, is I'm going to add some CSS to say like I want to add some padding top 10 pixel and some padding left 10 pixel. We can do 20 pixels. Okay, and maybe I can use like gray. Okay, looks better to me. Okay, so once we click this, we are going to show the activities like in this demo. This demo was nice. This demo was really cool. So before I can do this kind of animation, I first need to do the bare minimum, which is like showing the activities like in a flash. And so I want to first avoid the repetition in the motion CSS. But I will probably separate most of these things into separate components, so for the time being I can live with this. For sure this will be separate components later. So like this component here, like on click, what I want to do is show activities. I want to call the show activities function. Show activities, going to say show activities equals function. Going to say alert show to check out that this is working. Okay, and what I want to do here. So the problem I'm trying to solve now is that I want to show these activities on when I click this button, and but those activities are hidden by like this media query. So they show up if I add like a class, because I added this little snippet here. What I want to do, however, is like I want to add, okay, so this class show is some class I added, like I just came up with. But what I can do is show activities Show activities is a class that whenever we click show activities, this class is going to be applied to the list here, to the UL. So the UL of the activities, and also to this div here, because this is what sets the CSS grid layout. Because if I just set this to show up, this will show up below the grid, because the grid is already has already some predefined display layout. So here, well, first I need to understand how to assign a class to a React component. And to do that, I just Google how to add a class. I just Google how to add a class to a React component. Yeah, I'm doing the wrong thinking here. I'm thinking in terms of DOM and classes, when I should talk about state instead. Like, we need to have show activities, set show activities, hook use state true, for example, and so by default I show the activities except when the layout is so this is only going to be used when the layout is responsive. So when we are in a mobile view. So I don't even need this function here. What I need to do is on click, we have this event, and I'm going to say set show activities, show activities. So this is a toggle button, right? And for example, I can just output this value here. Alright, first I need to import use state from React. Alright, let me see if I can print this into here. Test. Nothing is happening. Why? Alert. Show activities. False. True. Okay, this should be working, and the only thing that is not working is this printing of show activities. So here I need to integrate this variable into the CSS, and this is just tag template, so we can let me find an example. But okay, this line we have some examples. Yeah, I think we can use this. We need to use CSS partials here, otherwise it's getting too complicated and we haven't even started. So what I can do here is that, yeah, if the I can use this example here. So if show activities is true, then so actually, sorry, this should be in a different place. So this should be here. So when we are in mobile view, So we need to say the sidebar mobile is always appearing, and then we need to determine this property value. So if show activities is true, we are going to use, if show activities is true, we are going to show the sidebar desktop. Otherwise, we're going to show the main. And here we also do a similar thing. So instead of, we say display, and it's known only if, actually sorry, this is like this. Alright, so this is going to be like if show activities, this is block, otherwise it's none. So if all goes well, and it didn't, so let me see if, oh, alright, there is a problem here because, yeah, I took like this example from, and it, okay, this is what we need to do, because inside a template literal we need to use this to interpolate variables and small calculations like this. So yeah, this looks like, so it looks like we want to use like false starting, we want to use a false starting state for this show activities. So if we are on a desktop, like in this case we are above like 800 pixels, no problem. If we are on like mobile, we have this little menu here, and when we click that, we are going to see the activities list instead of the main view, which is moved away. Here we have some space, but actually this should like pick up the full width. This takes the full width, and so to fix this, I need to say grid template columns, like show activities. Then it's like, actually it's not here the problem. We have the 80 pixel and the auto, but then here we have, yeah, I think that this should be 100%. And the problem is this value is computed here with, so if I say with 100%, no, it's not going to work. Okay, I think I need to do this, 80 pixels and then 100%. So let me find this. Okay, 100%. I think I can do this also here. Okay, cool. The only thing that I am missing is this line that ends here. Yeah, I think this is because we have this detail view that this detail view should have like a display none if the show activities property is, let me see here, display show activities is like true, then it's display none, otherwise it's a block. It's still not working. So it should be working, but then we have this label activities here. Why? If I just say display none, it's working. We have this strange thing called label activities. Let me try to move this up here. It's probably a bug. No. Display none. Ah, it's not a bug, right? I didn't add a semicolon. Okay. Perfect. So, I think we did it. And let me see here in the browser. Okay, it's perfect. Here we have the detail view, which is something we are going to work on tomorrow. When we click this, we are going to see the detail for this. And yeah, it was a bit hard to figure out this slightly confusing behavior, because like this thing is not, looks like simple, but it's not, and it's still not finished, I think, because we need to do some minor work to make it perfect. But we are going to work on this in the next video because we're running out of time. This video is already too long, and we'll see you in the next video.